seed in our homeland, boys. Let it grow where all can see. Feed it with our devotion, boys. Call it the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Save it from the storm, boys. Water down its roots with tea. And the sun will always shine on the old Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. March along with the piper, boys. We were born forever free. Let's go pay the piper, boys, beneath the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys. Always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys. Fight for the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys. Stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys. High on the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys. It will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys. Faith in the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12-gauge autoloader.
Sure.
The 45 long slide.
Yep.
With laser sighting.
You betcha.
The Uzi 9mm.
Yes, sir.
Phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay, they'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent, although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate, and your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? O sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Kornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and central. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com. We're also on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, and CB base stations, along with UltraNet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies. Freestanding, 3 systems. Each one was built by a different long branch of people to replace the internet when it shuts down. We don't just let anybody in, and we aren't hooked up to any of the conventional communication systems. If they shut the internet down, they'll be cutting off their nose to spite their face. We can still operate. They don't. And that's how it needs to stay. You know, in other words, if they want to do that to themselves, we don't have a problem with it at all. I hope they do. Really do. I hope it happens. Anyway, and when it does, we'll be kicking off into the rest of the battlefield situation anyway. For all of our brothers and sisters on and behind the lines in occupied territories, west, southwest, northeast, and north. And I want to say hi to our friends in the, great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying 2 states, the territories, and the clock. It is 5:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Tuesday, Communications Tuesday. It is the 7th of July. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K, 2020. Old Earth calendar. I'm giving her all she's got, Captain. That's right, Scotty. Just don't blow up the engines. You give us 128%. Or 2020 Dance of Swords, Battle for the Republic. Congratulations, you're in competition. Now, since you are in competition, I suggest you plan on winning. Get your act together. We got a lot of work to do. It is Communications Tuesday, but I want to harp on a few things here real quick, simply because when we see stuff that's worthwhile, it is a priority. Those M14 pouches that I mentioned, which in reality were optic pouches, were sold out over at Sportsman's Guide. Hopefully you guys got them. The best price in the country for a double M14 mag pouch. Oh, that's not what they're listed as. And by the way, if any of you ordered them, the ones coming in up until they ran out were brand new, in the box, in the wrapper, never issued from the government. So, price was right, and we all got hold of them, and hopefully you FAL, FN-FAL, or you G3 HK91 operators, PTR91, or you M1A/M14 operators got everything you could. You're going to end up with a pretty decent, brand new, out-of-the-box piece of equipment. If not, let me put it this way. I got the first batch. I was more than happy if they sent me what I got the first time around, but the second batch were virtually brand new in the box. The other ones were like new. One of them was used, but not badly, and it's on my combat rig. In fact, I'm not even changing out one of the new ones for with the one that I have that's kind of used, because it isn't used that much. Okay, in other words, it's already out of the box. I'll leave the other ones in the box, and that way when I put another kit together, I'll have them brand new out of the box then. Meanwhile, I'm going to wear the snot out of these things and see what I can do to break them down, but I don't think that's going to happen, because government already paid and did all the research. All I got to do is use what your tax dollars paid for. Okay, common sense. Well, anyway, we're going to go over to Sportsman's Guide for a minute. Hopefully, in a couple hours, I can jump on one of these. But whoever gets there first of all, check military surplus bandage bag kit new. Now, this is a doc kit. This is one of those things that goes, in fact, the doc would probably be carrying two of these, only because you're going to go through a lot of this when you're in a battlefield situation. You're going to be double packing. You're going to drop stuff. You'll probably still use it anyway, to be quite honest. But you're going to end up using and consuming. Now, these are $62.99. I'd call that $63. I'll throw the penny in. There we go. Dropped over in the box. So, this is a new item. It's over at sportsmansguide.com. 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 If you've done any checking on what bandages and real medical kits for heavier duty, let's just say hole plugging, there's nothing cheap out there. In fact, here's the other problem. A lot of other people who really are getting ready for the war have been consuming and grabbing all of that stuff. One of the things I've been looking for the last couple of days were burn packs, and somebody's come in and cleaned out the house. Doesn't mean they're all gone, but the cheaper stuff that I was looking for, that I already knew where it was, that's gone. The middle price stuff is gone, and the top dollar stuff is all that's left. But when the time comes, if that's what they got, that's what we're going to end up having to pick a few more up of to put into our combat packs. Anyway, this is a good price. You go ahead and take a look at the picture. There are two, one of it closed, one of it open. Read the information on the description, and it is over at sportsmansguide.com, sportsmansguide.com, sportsmansguide.com. The title is Check. Actually, it says New! Exclamation point. There we go. Check military surplus medical bandage bag kit, new. Repeat, it is new! Exclamation point. Check military surplus medical bandage bag kit, new. Check military surplus medical bandage bag kit, new. The item number is WX2-713070. Repeat the number again. It is WX2-713070. One more time. WX2-713070. Price is $63. If you're not a member of Sportsman's Guide, become a member. You get your money back first purchase, just about, if not more. Reason, because there is a good discount on being with their buyers club. I recommend it. I don't do that all the time, you know that, but in this case, with all the stuff that Sportsman's Guide gets, you can cherry pick, especially in the clearance and markdowns. Makes a big difference. This is a medical item. It is something that most of you remember. There are things that they took out of this pouch. Now, we probably, and I don't know if anybody's done this yet, can look over in whatever search engine and probably find this medical kit from something from the Czech military, so you can see what all would be in there that's been taken out. Now, what would be taken out? Well, I'll tell you right now, if this is a battle pack kit, the painkillers, in other words, the morphine auto-injectors are gone. Looks like there's a little slip there, and I think I see where they were. And probably, maybe, a few plasma bags could be possible. It'd be as likely as not, because this is a bulker kit. This is a bulker bag. So, however you look at it, there's a few extra slip pockets that can be filled right back up with junk that Doc could use. That would be a priority. Needless to say, I'd stash, if there aren't already a couple of, for instance, tourniquets in there, I'd throw some of the tourniquets we've talked about making at home, if nothing else, just to make sure that you've got more out in the field. Doc won't be complaining about that when he's got more to work with, okay? But take a look at the list, and as it points out, there will be a combination or a mix. Now, I will point out something about that. They may not be paying attention. It says ZVZOR 80 on the bag. There is also a serial number for the bag itself, which was for itemization and inventory with the Czech military, okay? But that upper number, I don't know what the VZOR stands for yet, but if I see a variation in either that first letter or that last number, I'm going to figure that there are different pack kits for different types of casualties. Now remember, I just mentioned one. There are burn pack kits. I have only 2 out of all those Czech kits that we got. I didn't let you guys buy them. I kept them. There were 2 burn pack kits. Now, here's the thing about the last Czech bags we got. They said may vary in size, but they weren't paying attention to detail, because if you laid them all out, you had bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, bag number 4, bag number 7. I don't know what number 6 was. I'd be willing to bet it's dope. In other words, it was probably a drug bag. But whichever ones were missing number-wise obviously have either higher priority or consumables or restricted items that are, they're not going to get rid of them, or they figure they're just going to keep them. But these are systems. Remember, the doc knows what he's looking at. When they tell him, grab me a number 4, grab me a number 6, grab me 2 number 8s, I'm short on those. It makes it easier for the assistants who are resupplying doc or resupplying, say, a medical unit going forward. So I don't know what the system is yet. I have not looked. This is a good price, $63. Look at what's inside the bag of the basics, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And for those of you who may just need 1 or 2 of these to, like bulk out what the troops, what your medic has or your corpsman has or maybe your retreat has, remember that these are stationed. If you had a number of these, you put these at different locations around your defense perimeter. This is like a mini medic pack for really dealing with wounds, shearing, fragmentation, bullet through and throughs, you name it. Now, as we pointed out yesterday, there's 2 pouches in there, look like they're double gang, in-out bandage packs, and those right now are a stupid price. Those are expensive. So right off the bat, I can see 2 items. Looks like the other one is not a full-size elephant tampon, but it looks like the 2 that you see that are in the lower part of the picture that are on the bottom of the bag, those are a large dressing. You don't see very many of them, because when you open them up, they're designed to cover like a whole back or wrap around an abdomen or hold the abdomen. You got a gut wound. You got part of the gut exposed. You want to keep it wet. You dampen the organs. You put the larger field on top of that, and you even dampen that a little bit. That way the organs don't dry out. Well, before Doc gets a chance. You don't try to stuff them back in, because you don't know what's hanging around there. That's for the medics to start dealing with, where they're going to irrigate, brush off, clean off, and then kind of put everything and squiggle it back into place where it belongs, and it'll be kind of looking better, right, as soon as they get to the proper plumbing process. Another thing, there are tools in here, but I don't know what all tools there are. Somebody asked me about that little note. What's that thing that looks like a little hatchet? It might be, because traditionally with the military, you either have a machete or what's called a medic's dagger or basically a hacksaw. Saw on the back, chopper on the front, and if you've got somebody with a little chunk of leg skin missing, still connected, but everything else is severed, well, you're in a hurry, and you don't have time to talk about it, so chop, and there you go. Put the leg on the guy's chest, keep moving. It's just, there's not that much left there to worry about, and it's getting in the way, and it's causing maybe pain. Probably, hopefully he's in shock by that time. But the idea is that you can work with the tools here. You figure out what they are. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's a whole bunch of these that were made World War I. This is not a World War I kit. This is end of the Cold War, probably into Czechoslovakia, working as a mercenary for the United States and for the Israelis who wanted to steal stuff either in the Balkans or when they were working as mercenaries in Afghanistan for us or Iraq, either one, whichever. But it's a newer kit. It is a useful kit, and you can top it off with all the other extra junk you can find and put in. I would, for instance, even though this isn't just a Band-Aid kit, I'd put a container of ibuprofen, a set of metafine and aspirin in there. Boom, right away. What's it cost? And then on top of that, any other better painkillers that you can find. There's lidocaine topical. No, does it do everything? It doesn't, but it will do more than, say, soft speaking in their ear and trying to rub the wounded area. You know what I mean? You can bring down some of the pain. You do something. This is where, again, you work with what you got until you can get better. And, in fact, you'll still be working with what you got because you're only going to have so much better, and you use it for the really bad casualties. You're going to learn to gauge that. Well, suck it up, Cupcake. Looks like that's not really as bad as it could be. And, by the way, you're not bleeding to death, so guess what? We're going to shove this in here. We're going to wrap this here. We're going to keep you from bleeding to death. You look like you're breathing because you're still screaming at me. You're going to the rear. Congratulations. Hasta luego, Winnebago, and don't let the coachman camper hit you in the ass on the way out. So, again, Sportsman's Guide. Check. Oh, you did not do that to me. Oh, I am so sick and tired of this garbage. Unbe-stinkin'-leavable, but it's expected. Anyway, failure is expected. It is not a kind of or sort of. It is where it's going to go. So anyway, that is the Czech military surplus medical bandage bag kit, new, $63. Next, one other item here. Keep your pen handy. You know, you got a driver, you're going to, here's one of the things. How many of you have seen how many people have been shot in their vehicle here recently? Now, what have I said before about this a million times? And you'll notice that Homie Fry, or, what a bango, or, what a bongo, or do dingus, or, racially challenged white black man, or, whatever he is, like we saw out in Idaho, will walk up and shoot somebody from behind. Some, 8-year-old got shot down in Atlanta in the war zone down there because the cops have all abandoned it. They're not talking about it. There's no real coverage in the news because they're not going to tell you about it. Don't go to Atlanta. Don't go to Atlanta. Don't go to Atlanta. And don't go down the 75 corridor to Atlanta. Okay? That's why they're talking about the, they have to, ask for Trump, the government has to ask, state and local, have to ask, Trump to get the military pumped into Atlanta. Well, why do we need them in Atlanta after all? Isn't everything warm and fuzzy? Nope, not at all. Well, anyway, in all of these situations, a lot of times it's Homie Fry coming up and popping somebody behind the wheel or trying to. The one guy got shot. They didn't really describe where he got shot in the head or the neck. Well, here's the rule. Drivers get armored first. Remember, I've said this for years. Now you're going to understand why if you start evaluating the situation. Now, needless to say, that 8-year-old would have been nice to have armored up, too, but that's where you bag up or you, again, armor up the inside of the vehicle. So what the eyes cannot see, the mind will not recalculate for. But as it is, driver, armored underpants, tactical armor of some kind, I don't care what it is, but wrap around. Why? Plates are cool, but they only offer protection front and rear. You need more. And you especially need neck protection and you need head protection. Now, all these gimmick new helmets, all the armor is missing from the sides, which is useless for protecting a driver. And in most cases, as we see, it's the homie, monkey poke from behind, rear left, rear right. So that would kind of tell you that you want a PASGAT type helmet. You want something with a Fritz type design so it drops down behind the head and covers the side of the head better. Then you want one of the regular military with high throat protection Kevlar, so that you have the level coming up from below, lining the side of the neck, the back of the neck, and the throat, and then you have the helmet coming down, and they overlap, and that was intentional, guys. That was absolutely intentional, the way originally the PASGAT armor and all of the variants on that was adopted by the NATO countries when they came out with it. The Brit helmet doesn't offer the same kind of protection, doesn't come down as far, and doesn't wrap around quite the same way. There are a lot of those out there, and if you got them, make them work. They're still better than the newer helmets, which all leave the whole ear side panel wide open and your beaner to get cleaned out. Oh, you know what's cool? They might be coming at you from below and up, so it'll put a bullet right through the side of your head, right about where your ear is. But the bullet will get stopped on the other side by your very sophisticated, brain pan kind of Kevlar helmet, which means it'll probably pop the helmet off, and you'll look like a pop bottle with parts of your brains flying out, behind the bullet. Let's try to avoid that. Let's do better. Now, as it is, again, drivers get armored first. Why? If the driver goes down, look at all these situations. The only good thing, the guy got shot in the head, but he went down for a couple more blocks, and then he faded out, and that was the end of it for him. Had Homie Fry and the rest of the knuckle draggers been chasing him the way they normally do, they'd have caught up, dragged him out of the car even more, beat on him, or it could have been some more punks waiting down the road. So armor up the driver. If you're going to be moving anywhere, if you're going to a retreat, if you're going to be tactically moving here down the road, armor up the driver. Always remember that. Do what you can to armor the driver first. Gunners get armored second. Unless you have a pecking order, you have non-combatants. Armor up the non-combatants. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you should have spare or extra vests as you can accumulate, and you should have the technology on board. Now, this is why I'm bringing up, again, the Kevlar, standard older-style Kevlar helmet is your first best choice as a driver. Your vehicle's not well armored yet, unless you've done what we've been talking about for years on this program. But since most of you did not, then the driver and the operators themselves need to have some armor. The vehicle will always slow down some bullets, but only slow it down a little. Depends on what's outside, what the skin's made out of, what's in between the door panels and such. Maybe you did some good work, maybe you didn't, okay? The Fritz-type Kevlar helmet would be your first best choice. Anything with high throat armor, you can still add plates and lay them over top of soft armor, but you need wraparound soft armor, preferably with shoulder panels. That gives you more protection where it's going to count. Remember, your tit level up to your shoulder, your throat, and your head is going to be exposed if you're in the vehicle. The driver can't do much to get away. Everybody else can duck. That still may not do them much good, which is why armoring everybody is a good idea. But the driver must be armored. So I've got a Kevlar vest of whatever kind. I got panels maybe on top of that, which is cool. Next, this is what I'm leading up to. British military surplus blast shorts with Kevlar, like new. This is also at sportsmansguide.com, sportsmansguide.com, sportsmansguide.com. British military surplus blast shorts with Kevlar, like new. Item number is WX2-703644. Item number WX2-703644. Item number WX2-703644. One size fits most. This covers your bunghole, covers your private parts, male or female, doesn't make any difference. And again, means that there's that much more protection on your person. British military surplus blast shorts with Kevlar, like new, registered Kevlar trademark. Wow. Price is $40.50. Well worth the dangly part of your gonads being intact, or not having an extra bunghole where you already have one. Okay, having a second one is going to be painful. Trust me on that one. Now, again, this is not bulletproof anything. Nothing is bulletproof. Nothing. I don't care what anybody says. Something will get through if it's big enough. But it is armor, and your drivers at least should be armored. If you're infantry, I recommend the armored underpants. The thing is, you got to take and defecate. Well, you're either going to poop your pants, son, or you're going to have to work at taking everything off. But guess what? What's your life worth? Now, the other thing is, about this equipment is you leave it with the vehicle. In other words, if the driver is going to be moving away from the vehicle, you're going to switch out drivers or whatever, you have to become religious about leaving the armor with the vehicle. Unless you're using a temporary vehicle, the driver is designated, and you're switching over to another vehicle, and the driver will be the same person. If the driver has to shift out, you must take the time to switch out the armor to the replacement driver. It is a religious ceremony. It must be part of your driving religion tactically. Drivers, get protected. If you've got a gunner on the, that's standing up and exposing his, gonads at somebody else's, head height in a car with a moonroof and a gun station, whatever you're doing, be a good idea to armor that guy up because, well, where they're usually aiming for somebody else's head, your crotch is at the same level. When you're standing up and you're using a gun off of a roof station, probably be a good idea to put some armor between you and whatever might be flying through, so you get my drift. That's just Mark. Uncle Mark. What does Uncle Mark know, right? It could be I'm a dummy. But just in case, if you're serious about saving certain body parts, there's a lot of other armor out there. Price is way high now, doubled what it was when I tried to get everybody to buy it 6 months ago and a year ago. Double, if not triple. Or it's not available. Those of you that followed through, double plus good, congratulations. If you hesitated, it's going to cost you. You could have 2 for the price of 1. If not, 3 for the price of 1. That's how the situation is right now. And I have found some wholesalers. In fact, I want to say thank you. One of our listeners did what I was asking, search around. There are some U.S. Pasgat armored vests that are $69. They're standard woodland camo. They've got the throat armor, the shoulder armor I'm talking about. And again, about $69 a piece, which is $70 flat. Sportsman's Guide has an American airborne version, but they only have them in size small and medium, brand new, unissued, for about that price. So again, take a look. Well, no, correction. Those are much more expensive. They actually increased in price rather than dropped. That's right. I'm sorry. They're about $120, $124 a piece. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Correct myself. Slap me in the microphone. So, again, what's out there, when you get to that point, and the one keeps creeping up, I will remind you that I think it's the Italian or the French is still left out there. In surplus tactical vests, you go to Sportsman's Guide, surplus tactical vests. And when you get there, once you do a quick search, you'll find that there is some of the body armor pops up. It's funky. Some of them won't even pop up when you hunt for body armor. It's the one thing about these goofy web pages, you never know how they're going to react to, whatever your interest is. And even if you try hard, you can't find it. And it's still in their system. Okay, correction. $116.99. That's $117 for the U.S. military surplus paratrooper frag vest. It's got reinforced shoulders. It's got the high throat collar. You take that, work that with a Pasgat helmet. I think they have the Italian Kevlar at Sportsman's Guide if you're trying to one-stop shop. However, now here's the thing. For another $100, basically $14 or so, you can get Italian military surplus tactical carrier vest with ceramic plates for $225. Woodland camo, no pouches, only armor, good throat protection. It's got a gorget for the top. Shoulder protection is reasonable. In other words, you gained on the throat, but you didn't get as big a panel on the shoulder. However, you do get a gorget for covering the front throat twice, the front throat area. And that makes this a very valuable driver's kit. You take the armored underpants, you combine that with this Italian military surplus tactical carrier vest with ceramic plates. You've got a pretty kick-butt armored. In fact, if I were a stand-up gunner, I'd be using this inside the vehicle. You're not running anywhere, but you are stuck in the vehicle. And if until you can try to pry your way out if something goes bad. But otherwise, again, these are solutions, not just lamenting about the problems. Oh, damn! Soon it's going to be every man. I really get tired when I see stupid people hear stuff like this, when I see it written. Pretty soon it's going to be every man for himself. Well, only if you're an asshat, an idiot, or a drama queen. How does civilization survive? You want to know who's going to save civilization? Go look in the mirror there and decide that you're going to work together. Go look in the mirror. There's the person with the answer right there. All the rest of this panty waist drama queen garbage. Would somebody please slap that fool that's making that flap yap? Seriously. We're doomed. Yeah, shut up. Guess what? We're not dead yet. As long as you're not dead yet, still breathing, we got a chance to fight. Keep fighting. Don't stop. You don't quit, son. You don't quit. And by the way, you are in competition. That's how I am going to explain it to you from now on. You are in competition. The blacks who want to kill all the white people and all the other fools that are out there, and the white idiots that are, racially challenged, incompetent fools that want to lick somebody else's boot, get down on a knee or grovel on their belly, those pigs can go to hell. All those pieces of trash are exactly that, bottom-feeding idiot and incompetents who will drag you to the deep end of the swimming pool on the 12-foot end and demand that you die with them. Well, guess what? I might be pushing them down with my feet like Kirk with that Klingon hanging on the end of his legs, but I sure as hell am not going to the bottom of the swimming pool with the Fruit Loop drama queens. And you all better have the same attitude. So as it is, we got work to do. And proper planning prevents poor performance. Now, here's another thing. If you can find any of the cheap armor, here's another thing about quick armoring up your vehicle, and I've mentioned this several times. Somebody goes, well, what good is that $40 British armor? Oh, well, I don't know. What would it cost for you to armor up the bucket seat in your truck? What? Well, you take that smooth side, like those ones that were made. They're all gone now, by the way. You might find them with some other supplier, but they were under $40 a piece. What do you do with them? You take the slick side back and put it to the front of the back of the seat. You slide it over, you Velcro it from behind, and now you got armor to the rear of your seat, armor right behind you, and you're wearing a vest. Now, if you want to talk about a lot of bullet resistance, that's a lot of bullet resistance for a very minimal amount of money. And one nice thing about armoring your vehicles up like that is that nobody's going to necessarily rip it off. Now, if the vehicle gets knocked out, hell, you just undo the Velcro, slip it off the seat, and take it with you, and either wear it because it looks like you might be, somebody's throwing some bullets at your hind end, or you turn around and put it in the next vehicle and you up-armor the vehicle right away. It's not much, but it's a hell of a lot better than your butt hanging in the breeze. Common sense. More is better. Basic armor design is just putting junk. This is how the engineers are told it works. You put as much junk between the very priceless crew and whatever's coming in at them. That junk includes everything that a bullet or a round has to pass through, even an AT round. That's why they try to put the engines in the front of armored vehicles like on APCs. Why? They are considered part of the defense armor penetration defense against the crew, to protect the crew. It's part of the formula. That big block engine up front, diesel or the older ones when they were gas, you still had to plow through that to get to the people inside. And you had bulkhead panels. Now, it used to be the bulkhead panels were thicker on some APCs, thinner on others. But that front bulkhead is because logically you're going into battle. The enemy's to the front. Since the enemy's to the front, that's where the garbage is going to be coming from mostly when it's trying to get to you. So you put more junk up front. See how that works? Same as with armor and armoring yourself up. Now, a lot of people, the other thing I would point out, if you can get any armored gloves for the drivers, problem is people are going to get sloppy and walk away with them. But if you can keep it really, if you can create the discipline that is, with those of you who actually think you're working on a team rather than me, myself, and I, if you can get your people to think as a team and start really, really, really getting their act together, it's amazing how well you can do. But that means you constantly have to think. And remember, it becomes part of your religiosity of armor, how you operate, SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. Another thing with regard to the armor is there's different grades out there, and yeah, there's some of the stab armor. I put that on. Ooh, it's not as good as... I don't care. I really don't care. Whatever I can find right away is going on my hind end. I found out that the body armor, no matter what it is thicker than my hide. It stops at least stuff like when I drop to the ground, maybe that piece of glass would have whacked into my side and probably made for a very inconvenient, dollop in my skin. Instead, the stab armor prevented me from getting nailed up or glassed up or busted up in some way that would help to break down and deteriorate my fighting performance. Oh, you weren't told about that. Cumulative damage with organics is just the same as cumulative damage with mechanicals. All of that has to be taken into consideration, so anything you can find, you use. And you don't leave it on the ground if the enemy's dropped it. If you've killed somebody on the other side, you've just earned all their goodies. Strip the enemy bare-ass naked, make sure everything gets dragged away, and if you got troops that still need gear, guess what? That's who they go to. If you're upgrading, you take your old gear and give it to the guy who doesn't have anything, and he still upgrades. You've got to constantly be thinking of, in other words, we're going to compete, we're going to win. We're going to compete, we're going to win. We're going to compete, we're going to win. And again, get active. Another thing here, yes, I notice, well, I'm not going to get off too far into the web gear, except I will remind you, if you want to do some quick outfitting without doing a whole lot of wasted time, searching around, I mean, it's up to you. I can cherry pick and find some great prices on stuff. Right now, U.S. military surplus, ACU rifleman set, also at Sportsman's Guide, Molly compatible, it's all Molly gear. 12 pieces, $63, includes a backpack, assault vest, all the pouches, and a fanny pack. You're done. Still got to get canteens, still got to get all the other tiny junk, but your basics are all done in one stop, and it's ACU, but it's tired ACU, so it's not really bright, which means it'll work, okay? It's used, but it's very serviceable used. I got a ton of it. I can outfit a battalion with what I've got in Molly gear right now, just with one cache that I've got set up, or company strength units easily. And it's worth picking up. It's worthwhile. It'll work for what you got to do. If you're listening and you don't have anything and you don't have a whole lot of money to spend, that's one solution. Want to spend a little less because you don't need a backpack? U.S. military surplus Molly load-bearing vest, $31.49. Take a look at how many pouches, packs, and whatever are attached to it, but it's $31.49. Free shipping on anything over $49 at Sportsman's Guide. You still have to pay tax. Whatever the goofy tax is, you figure it out. So those are 4 solutions I'm offering. I'm offering as again, I'm not complaining about the problem. I can complain all day, but I better have a way to deal with it. Okay? Yeah, there is. Oh, thank you to Rhonda. Yeah, U.S. military surplus rifleman set, Molly compatible. This is all brand new gear. 15 pieces, backpack, assault vest, water, camelback, all the rest of the assault pouches, $225. That's all brand new. You'll notice the difference in price. For $60-some, $225. I can outfit almost 4 people if I buy the ACU gear, and I have everything that I have basically there. So which would I do? I'd tell you to go 5 of the ACU sets rather than one of the brand new Desert. I like them, like the pattern, works really well here during the fall for us because we modified a little bit. But again, it's nice to have new, but we don't need new to get onto the game table and to be ready to fight. And you need to be ready to fight. It's that simple. One more time, last time, as we're way past the bottom of the hour. Check military surplus medical bandage bag kit, new, $63. And British military surplus blast shorts with Kevlar, like new, $40.50. Great price for both. You figure out what your private parts are worth, whether or not you got anything else that'll cover them as well. I would point out you get that bottom, you get that other $220, ceramic armor set with the crotch apron front, and you're double protected to the front end. That would be nice. Put a Kevlar helmet on your top, put some elbow pads and knee pads on, get yourself some armored gloves. Armored as in for protecting you from dings and pings because you're getting older, and you're going to get older even if you're not yet. Trust me, protect it now so you'll work longer later with fewer stress issues. Pain, okay? Still going to see lots of pain. I ain't going to have a choice in that one, I guess, really. Pain's coming no matter what. And that's over at sportsmansguide.com, sportsmansguide.com. Anyway, covered that enough. Next, this last weekend, as we know, they had the Kill All the White People program at Stone Mountain. I want everybody to stop because I keep seeing numbers that they keep throwing around, and I'm going to challenge you. You can still shot the video, count how many people are actually there. Pay attention. I want you to do that. Count. Stop. Take some time tonight. Break out, the big screen TV. Go over to YouTube, put in one of the videos that shows the black Kill All the White People group with guns, all in black uniforms, and physically count how many people were actually there. Because that way, anyway, take the time and count out who's actually there and how many, and then listen to what they said. That's the nice thing. Remember, your enemy is demonstrating more and more of how they really feel and what they're really about. You need to have your epiphany. And maybe this will help you to have your epiphany so you'll understand you're in competition. This is life or death. Get your act together. lead follower, get the hell out of the way. But don't open your face later on about how, well, I think we should do it. Wait a minute. Now, first of all, he said we're doomed. The Bible says it's the end of the world. Well, that was the 1950, 1955, 1956, 1962, 1960. Actually, fill all the years in between. I've heard this ever since I was little. It's the end of the world. We're all going to die. We're doomed, we're doomed, we're doomed. And we're still here. So, yes, God warned you about a whole lot of things, including the idea that, well, he ain't going to tie your tennis shoes this morning, and he will give you a wonderful gift called freedom and liberty. Now, what you choose to do with it, whether or not you chuck it out the back window while you're busy, defecating your spine out, pissing your pants, and terrified of life, well, that's your problem. God gave you all the same instruments of, plenty to accomplish the task and to keep what you got. But if you're going to be a wolf, if you're going to be a drama queen, like the enemy's got all those too, by the way. They got lots of wusses. They got lots of drama queens. But by God, it better not be on our side. So y'all better get your act together. Anyway, a couple things here with regard to organization. I will repeat again. 5-man fire team, 10-man squad. Easy. Why? Easy to relate to. Hands. Look at your hands. 4 fingers, 1 thumb. See the other hand? 4 fingers, 1 thumb. We already think, since we were an infant, in tens. Now, as long as we're doing infantry, we're doing heavy infantry. We actually might go even heavier than a 10-man squad. Might go a 12-man fire team, or forgive me, a 12-man squad, which could be divided down, yes, into 4-man fire teams, but typically, again, you overstrength, and there's a reason, because you have the ability to divide 2 detachments, and in most cases, those detachments of 6 make more sense for the number of overlapping tasks that are required for the A group and the B group to get something done. What do I mean by that? Well, let me talk about the real mission of Special Forces. Since I've seen a lot of stuff written and people making comments about how I don't have any idea. Oh, I have a real good idea. What era of SF were you in? What were you doing? What was the mission of the particular SF group or the special warfare units that are there? If they're just simply, thug assassin, like the old, SEAL team operations during the Phoenix program, all they were assassins. They go in, they have a list. The list may have been lied to about completely. A lot of them had real bad feelings because they eventually realized they were played because the list came from the South Vietnamese, and the South Vietnamese had vendettas because they were competing in business, competition, like I told you. And they go in and whack a bunch of people who, well, they actually didn't get the right list or the right person on the list. But they went in, fired up everything, burst into wherever the people were, killed the whole family, and leave. It's an assassin group, okay? That's the Phoenix program in a compressed operational mode. On the other hand, original SF procedure was to build armies in the field. You didn't go to war with a 12-man A-team. You went to war by taking a 12-man A-team and the rest of what might be the command detachment, which could be 2, 3, or 4 men, and they drop your ass in the middle of nowhere where you have some friendlies that somebody's made contact with, or maybe you're going to make contact with, and you make a 600-man battalion. And every man that goes into the field has 2 skills. Why do they, remember, here are 2 skills. One is demolition, the other one is communication. One guy's a rifleman, marksmanship, and the other task is field sanitation and operations in the field. Yeah, everybody has 2 skill sets. Between that, with a 12-man SF team, you have 24 tutorial elements. Now, you subdivide that in the old school mechanism was 6 and 6. One team focuses on the combat arm to get them up to speed as quickly as possible, but still works in a BCT mode. The other element works in advanced or support mode, and the 2 are divided. Example, when I was in the field, and I told you about we were out the night the Edmund Fitzgerald went down. We were set up as a battalion deployment force. Our job was to go out, and we were going to build an army somewhere. Everybody's carrying extra commo. In fact, 2 wraps of commo wire, unspooled, and you cross, you did them like bandoliers. And on top of that, you're carrying generator packs, you're carrying battery packs, you're carrying spare equipment of every category you can think of. Everybody looked like they were going shopping. No, more like they'd been shopping. But that's what you carried in because you went in heavy. Everybody went in with extra rations. Everybody went in with extra ammo. You dropped off and cached the ammo on the way in. You made sure that the caches were marked. All the team leaders and team members knew where they were. And that way, if you were separated, you could return to a cache. You could recover what you needed and only what you needed, and leave the rest either to recover later or for other team members you might be separated from. See, that's the purpose behind a cache. If you actually get separated, you don't stop fighting, you don't stop with the mission. Those elements, or whoever can proceed, will do so. Now, if you do recover something from a cache, you also leave a marker, not a message, a marker, so that somebody knows which of the members recovered material from the cache. And then you can also leave a second marker identifier within your SOP, whatever that number, whatever that letter is, and that will tell them that you are going to one of whatever objectives from A to B to C to D to E to F. You don't leave a long, drawn-out message. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. That way, if somebody else does recover your cache, there's no real information to draw from. The information is phonetic. Only you and the team members know what it means. Nobody else, not even the people above you. All kinds of dirty tricks, all kinds of regular, normal, common sense tricks. But the purpose behind it at that time was to build a battalion. Not to go in, special force, we're going to kill everybody. No, that wasn't how it worked. In the later stages of the SF groups in Vietnam, Middle War on, this is why they always used to ask, well, when did you get your beret? That's the most common question asked. Well, I was Special Forces. Well, really, what year? When did you get your beret? 66 used to be the cutoff. If you got your beret after 66, it was considered to be a lesser accomplishment. Why? Well, let me point out something. You ever look to see how many Special Forces groups were actually planned for Vietnam and the rest of the world? The original purpose was 100 men will test today, but only 3 earn the Green Beret. Yeah. Okay, 3 out of 100. But wait, we just doubled the number of SF. No, tripled, quadrupled, sextupled. What was the highest designation, unit designation, in the SF configurations for groups in Vietnam? What was the high water mark in numbers? Now understand that highest number point, there are units missing below it, but that was representative of where they planned on going. But if you took the top 3 out of 100, and then next month you have to retest and you take the top 3 out of the 100 that are left, you're kind of thinning things out, aren't you? And so what happened, this is why they argued that originally the qualifications were much higher, but because Kennedy established SF as an elite force. Johnson decided that, well, between that and McNamara, decided that, well, they were just going to make a whole army of Special Forces. But then they also redirected their operations, whereas originally SF was designed, going all the way back to the beginning of Vietnam, to build armies. Eventually, though, they shift, and they become fighting units in and of themselves, which they weren't intended to be. In fact, in order to do that, yes, then they had to restructure how they would be operating in the field. The Alpha Bravo system didn't quite work as well. Oh, and don't forget, you still have the rest of SF. You have A-team and B-team detachments, right? You do know everybody, there's all kinds of extra letters involved. But that A-team was a training team, was a build team. It was an army team. You knew that if you dropped 12 men plus the admin group, the 3, 4, 5, depending on the era, sometimes it was up to 8 men, they were part of the admin core group that would be dropped into an area. Within so many weeks, you would have a 600-man battalion that would be fighting. Not a 12-man team that would be fighting, a 600-man team that would be fighting, a battalion. Not so much later on. In fact, then they lost the Hearts and Minds project altogether and went on to basically parallel or even incorporate into the Phoenix program, the planned mercenary / Murder Incorporated. May or may not. It was a great idea under certain conditions, but they did the same thing with it. They did with everything else. They made it wholesale rather than retail and very diamond cut. It wasn't diamond cutter. It was like basically ham-handed. It wasn't the fault of the people doing it. It's the fault of the management who was running it. Two different worlds. Anyway, that's a detailed version, and everybody can sputter and spiff and whatever, because, yeah, there's plenty of time in between and shift and alternatives and changes that were made. Congratulations. If you know about that, you were part of that little window, you were different from everybody else, and you can say, I don't know what I'm talking about. How's that sound? That'll work out for everybody. But as far as I'm concerned, I've got a pretty good idea about what I'm talking about. And again, there's a lot more I'm not even touching on yet, because we've got to be polite in this society here. Because I do know a whole lot more that most people don't want other people to repeat, because then you kind of look a little differently at what those people were doing. Just heads up on that. Now, as it is, again, let's see, last but not least, we're almost to the top here. Good job. Yeah, one of the things I'm going to remind everybody again, if the enemy is in front of you, you don't get out of the car to challenge him. You don't have a conversation. You do not talk with your enemy. You keep moving. You are in offensive driving mode. That means you are a land shark. Your purpose, your mission in life should be to get away from the kill zone, no matter what. I've watched this video several times. I don't feel bad at all for the two idiot sticks that ended up, congratulations, getting run over on the expressway. Dad taught me a long time ago and explained to me all about how your best bet is to make sure that you're not part of the people playing in the expressway, right? Just that simple. So as it stands, again, don't play in the expressway. And when they do try something like that, well, deal with the problem accordingly. Deal with it in the best way that you can, you can, and your four wheels are the first best weapon at your disposal. So use them. And don't slow down. You slow down, all you're doing is becoming a target of opportunity. Even if you're armored up, hey, that lucky bullet, and it's not lucky for you, but your enemy's lucky bullet might be the one thing that is the difference between all of you getting away, and because the driver was stupid or foolish enough to think he could be or she could be nice, everybody dying in the car. Does everybody understand that? Very good, as a matter of fact. Now, last but not least here, on communications, remember, yes, we've talked about radios. This Communications Tuesday. FRS radios are going to be cluttered in the metropolitan area. As the farther away you get away from the metropolitan area, the more likely you'll have space on those radios. CB will probably not be cluttered at first, but as people realize they've got nowhere to go, communications-wise, then they are going to end up in a situation where they start looking for alternatives. Radio will progressively be cluttered up or clustered up as things develop, okay? Now, with that being the case, remind everybody again, make sure that if you're going to commit to a system, don't commit to one, commit to a package, a number of different radios. I firmly believe in, number one, marine radios. I've talked about it many times. It is another system. They're most of your areas, example, if you're out in Nebraska, Iowa, the Rockies, do you think there's going to be much marine traffic out there? Little to none. The more inland you get, example, in Ohio, do you think there's going to be a lot of marine traffic in the middle of Ohio? Hell no. Now, we're in Michigan, and even though you'd think that we'd hear more marine traffic here, we don't, because of the communists we have in government. They've driven people from the lakes intentionally, and because of that, there are fewer and fewer people operating the technology. And since that's the case, what's fascinating about this is, again, even here, we've got a reasonably open environment for marine radio. CB, it's a mix, up and down. But CB, marine, FRS, and then 2-meter would be your next option, not your only. And then, of course, everybody goes, well, what about the Beifong and the VHF, UHF, AM, FM? Yes, of course. But the quickest, fastest, easiest, where you can find them anywhere. FRS radios are at Wally World, if it's still open. And we just found out one of them got shut down here locally. I know why, because of where it was. And the war zone, and there's probably more stuff that was being carried out the front door by the shoplifters than was being sold through the cashier's desk. So they just shut the place down and said, hasta la Winnebago, and it's gone. Now, with the FRS radios, the only thing I would say is if you've got rechargeables, still keep a bunch of the AAA batteries on hand, or AA, depending on what your system takes. That way, if the rechargeables do go down, you can still pull them for the time being rather than wait to recharge, and you can continue to use the radios with non-rechargeable batteries. Dollar Tree is your best solution. We're at the top. We're going to take a break here. God bless our republic. Yes, to the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire is on the run. We're in the march. Solutions. Not just complaining about the problems. Organize, arm, equip, and train as militia for mutual defense. Establish a 510 program. Get ready for war. You're in it. God bless. We'll be back.
Let it grow where all can see. Feed it with our devotion, boys. Call it the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Save it from the storm, boys. Water down its roots with tea. And the sun will always shine on the old Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. March along with the piper, boys. We were born forever free. Let's go pay the piper, boys, beneath the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys. Always pay the tyrant's fee. Never give up the struggle, boys. Fight for the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Stand for the rights of man, boys. Stand against all tyranny. Hang the lance of freedom, boys. High on the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. It will grow as we grow, boys. It will be as strong as we. We must cling to our faith, boys. Faith in the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
We all need to prepare ourselves. You might have the food, water, gold, and silver, but ask yourself, are you truly prepared? That's why you need to visit MaineMilitary.com. MaineMilitary.com carries everything you need. Gas masks, fire starter kits, high-capacity magazines, chemical suits, military surplus items, and much more. Do you own a firearm? MaineMilitary.com has a large selection of pistols and rifles suited for your needs. Are your local stores sold out of ammunition? Call or visit them today for prices on hard-to-find ammo and bulk ammo orders. You don't need to worry about having a military surplus store in your area because MaineMilitary.com is the only store you'll ever need, all from the comfort of your computer. Visit them online today at MaineMilitary.com. That's Maine, like the state, military.com.
Join Mark and Don for Weapons Wednesday, where you'll learn how to use everything from your bare hands to your average AR-15.
The 12-gauge autoloader,
Sure.
the 45 long slide
Yep.
with laser sighting,
You betcha.
the Uzi 9mm
Yes, sir.
phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
What are you, crazy?
Wrong.
Okay. They'll talk about that too. So whatever question you have about whatever weapon you have, call Mark and Don on Weapons Wednesday. And remember, your mind is your first best weapon.
Liberty's Guardian, Guns and Ammunition, a family-owned business located in the heart of Ohio's hunting country. Let us help you find the right shotgun or rifle for you. Or if you're looking for a pistol or concealed carry, we have a nice selection of compact and subcompact pistols for that too. Check out our website at www.libertiesguardian.com. That website again is www.libertiesguardian.com. Go to the website and check out our selection today.
I had a dream the other night that, well, I didn't understand. A figure walked in through the mist with a flintlock in his hand. His clothes were torn and dirty as he stood there by my bed. He took off his three-cornered hat, and speaking low to me, he said, "We fought a revolution to secure our liberty. We wrote the Constitution as a shield from tyranny. For future generations, this legacy we gave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. The freedoms we secured for you, we'd hoped you'd always keep. But tyrants labored endlessly while your parents were asleep. Your freedom's gone, your courage lost. You're no more than a slave. In this, the land of the free and home of the brave. You buy permits to travel and permits to own a gun. Permits to start a business or to build a place for one. On land that you believe you own, you pay a yearly rent. Although you have no voice in saying how the money's spent. Your children must attend a school that doesn't educate. And your Christian values can't be taught according to the state. You read about the current news in a regulated press, and you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt, put men of God in jail, harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn, and your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? Oh, sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you. God bless Israel.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the second hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Cornke. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, Southwest, Northeast, East, and Central. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us on Libertytreeradio.4mg.com. We're also on AM and FM micro stations, CB base stations, and UltraNet Hallmark and Golden Spike technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in the lower 49, which includes the great state of Jefferson and Conus. That's the other 48, by the way. And then the outlying two states, the territories, and the clock. It is 6:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Communications Tuesday. That's the 7th of July, 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K. 2020 Old Earth Calendar, 2020 Year of Conflict, Year of Betrayal, and the Dance of Swords. Congratulations. Anyway, it is Communications Tuesday. I will remind you again, if you're looking for radio gear, go over to Facebook Marketplace, okay? Now, I'm looking at something here that just jumped off the page. Motorola CP110M radios. Let's see, $75 a piece, $150 a pair. These are a relatively new rig. They're located down in, for instance, Louisville, Ohio. And let's see, originally these radios were $495 a piece. Commercial grade, the example is, again, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is a cluster of 10 radios, and it comes with charger packs, it comes with the radios, information manuals, etc. But this is the kind of stuff you can run into on a regular basis over at Facebook Marketplace. Not excited about Facebook. We can use it, fine. If not, who cares? We'll use it for as long as it runs, and then we'll kick it out the back door. But example, pair of Motorola Radius P 1225 radios, $50. Bases, chargers, handheld mics. So you've got everything you need for a tactified radio, guys. Purely a matter of what you want to do if you search through the system. And these, by the way, are Lincoln Park, Michigan. And includes, looks like, extended battery packs. Yeah. I'd have to find out more. Let's see, with chargers and 2 extra, 2 extra radios. Really? And 2 extra radios and an extra mic. Okay, so you get 4 radios, 3 mics, 2 charging stations for $50. I got to tag that. I have to tag that. We might grab that ourselves. That just popped up here. It's not brand new. No, it was a day ago. It just popped up. Okay. So there's an example right there. Mark finds stuff even while he is working on program. Mongo smart. Mongo pay attention. Mongo buy. Mongo buy when we find and before someone else find. Whoever gets there first, I don't care. A good example here, CB Radio Galaxy Saturn Technician Special, $150. If you're looking for CB base stations, go through and look to see what they have sitting on the shelf and in your area. Remember, you can search by distance, locale and distance. So take the time, go through. If you're looking for CB radios, there's some really nice buys. It's a roller coaster with the handhelds because everybody knows those are kind of at a premium right now. Another thing is get yourself a decent shortwave receiver. There's all kinds of them out there, but I just saw one. It's like a transoceanic. It might not be, but it's over in Taylor. These are kind of like the beach radios it used to have, but they did more than AM and FM, by the way. $50. Looks like it might be a Plantronics. But anyway, for $50 for the unit, this does require a whole gob of D-cell batteries typically. Does have a plug-in power supply, etc., the whole 9 yards. But it includes all of the shortwave frequencies, including both our side of the water and the other side of the water, since it's it has a variable tuner, so you can pick up 100% of what's out there. Remember, at a certain point, they really started to push select radio receivers, and a lot of your digitals are actually restricted, which you have to pay attention to. There are units you can buy in the U.S. that will only pick up European broadcasts because the argument is that you weren't supposed to listen to American shortwave. You were supposed to listen to European shortwave, and the Europeans were supposed to listen to American shortwave. Did you know that? How do you like that one? So that's just to give you an idea. You think that all this internet restriction is new? Same crap, different decade. And with a little different technology, but still the same idea. So, no. We want to listen to everything. So do you. Just that simple. Do we have a caller?
Yes.
Go ahead. Caller, jump in there. Who do we have?
This is Rick out of Oregon. I have picked up a few Grundigs shortwave radios. In the early 91s, you could pick up a lot of stuff. As they got later into that decade,
Yep.
they got crappier. They look the same. You could set them right next to each other. They have the same damn number on them. Yeah, they're not the same radio.
casing, but on the inside, a very different bird.
Like I said, same model number.
Yeah.
But, yep. I used to listen to Dr. Stan, and I happened to pick up another one at a garage sale. Like I said, identical radio. And, yeah, I couldn't get into that frequency. But, anyway.
Well, one of
the other
the
thing
things,
I
too,
wanted...
like as I pointed out, for instance, years ago, I just got packed up military package here while I was talking to you. Very good. As it is, they intentionally, when they marketed, especially in the early 90s, they marketed separate and specific receivers. One they considered an overseas package, which you were supposed to take with you as a, for instance, foreign worker, or if you were going to be a missionary somewhere. And that one would pick up American frequencies. But what happened when they first, in fact, they did this with the Free Plays. They made a little boo-boo. When the Free Plays came out, they bought the Free Play radio, but they didn't know is that they were, they had the restricted model. And so a lot of people bought basically what was the B model and couldn't understand why they couldn't tune in any American stations. And so it turned out that the second wave of Free Plays actually were able to open up and go into the American frequencies consistently because they bought the African model. So that was a little trick that they learned. I know it from firsthand experience because when they were the Free Play, people used to run around with us at the preparedness expos, and they'd invite me to speak there. So I had a chance to sit down and talk to them about the shenanigans with radio technology just with importing. So I thought it was rather fascinating. Go ahead, please.
Anyway, the other reason I was calling was that we've started picking up stuff so we blend in a little bit better. If we have a long hike because of, say, an A&P or something, if around here, you can pick up a hippie poncho, and they're cotton made, but we spray the hell out of them. We've got one guy that actually sewed in a waterproof liner, but just in case, so we can kind of blend in. And we're just kind of finding these masks aren't that bad because they don't know what the hell we're buying. You cut the bottom out of it. Here we have no option. If you want to go into a grocery store, it's now mandated, and they're actually talking about banning seeds here as well, which we've already cleared out most of the seeds for the season anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But you know what? Use their stuff against them.
Well, I guess my biggest problem with that one is, again, everything that you should be doing in a coronavirus or a virus environment, get out in the sun, get out in the air, get lots of fresh air. There's no coronavirus cloud coming across the horizon, people. That's not the problem.
Well, I know, but use their crap against them. I mean, we're outside. Most nights I'm cooking outside for dinner. I'm on a rooftop most of the day. Well, it depends on the day. But so that stuff isn't an issue. And by the way, you kind of figure out who, who's your buddy and who's not as far as when you walk.
Right.
Yeah. But there are certain positions or there are certain times where if you want to go into a grocery store, you got to have a mask. It's just that's what's happening by state mandate. And, so, I'm going in buying, we're still able to pick up, I picked up a bunch of dehydrated peppers, onions, butter, all that sort of thing. That's what I picked up today. I'm on my way home to put it away, so it's still available here. But use this stuff against them. They don't know who I am necessarily. I got a baseball cap on and a face mask, so I do the same thing. It's kind of ironic when I go into buy ammo and I've got a face mask on. I find it a little funny, but I kind of laugh about it.
After all, we're all Pancho Villa now. We're all banditos.
Oh, I know.
Banditos are okay, senor.
I know.
I understand what
I
you're
went in
saying.
I picked up 3 175 liters of Everclear, which has a lot of medicinal purposes. Now, it's kind of funny walking in a liquor store with a mask on. But, pick up the stuff here it's still all available, so we're trying to pick up as much as we can. We don't have 5. We've got 3 here, so we'll make do with what we got.
Well, I think one of the things that's happening, if we get into the second wave, isn't going to go as well for them, and it'd be real quick to figure out where the friendly pieces of real estate are and where the friendly businesses are. Personally, I think everybody should just vote with their wallet and deal only with those people that we know are friendly. And that's going to be sorted out here in this next wave of things. And you're going to have to back them up, too. That's the other half of the battle. So I think that it's going to eventually get into a shooting conflict over this. The cops are going to switch from not doing anything about Antifa to attacking you for being patriot-oriented again, which they never really have shifted from. It's just where they're going to go back to. They're comfortable because they know they think they can keep attacking the patriots and the producers, and that we're just going to keep putting up with it. Everybody's so fed up because there's no difference between the black uniform cop and the black uniform Antifa. They both ride with the same mentality that our time is their time. And everybody's getting tired of that real quick. So that's coming to an end. They had better pick a side, and it better be ours, because otherwise they're going to get put underfoot.
Well, and I understand that, but as far as food-wise, and if you go in for ammo, most of the time you don't really have to wear
Right, the gun shops are pretty well dump the mask. They even say, don't wear a mask here. People with masks get shot here. They actually put little signs up like that here. So it's like, yeah, well, see, that makes more sense. But, in reality, everybody, I understand what you're saying. You go in with a mask on, you pay with cash, and, they got cameras, but how are they going to know who did what? I mean, think about it. It's the perfect scenario for confusion, which is exactly what they were intending. They just didn't think we'd figure out to use the confusion on them. Instead, their logic is it would bollocks up our brain, and we would go into brain fart, and we're so concerned, and we're so fretting, and it's like, I'm not fretting about anything. The only thing I'm doing is waiting to shoot your ass. Everything else is just like, we're kind of idling here until we get into, the next level of excitement. And it won't be so much exciting as focused work that needs to be done. Because, I don't know if you heard what I've been saying, but this is competition time, guys. We're now in competition. That's all you have to think about. Do you want to be a winner or do you want to be underfoot? We're competing to see what form of government, what mindset's going to be, winning and on top. For us to be winning on top, we got to beat the living snot out of everybody in front of us, and we better get ready to do it.
See, we're looking at a little closer to home. We're looking at whether we get the materials or somebody else gets the materials that we don't agree with, and who's going to be able to outlast the other.
Right, well, the center will be stripped. I think that's something that's already happening. It's kind of like I said, here in Detroit, we don't have the crazy town nonsense you're seeing like in Atlanta. Now, one of the reasons is that they've already burned down so much and destroyed so much that they realize there's not really a whole lot they have in the way of wiggle room. And you'll notice you don't hear anything about Detroit. Oh, they've tried to make some noise, but I'm going to tell you that other than the usual crime, problems, nothing new, exotic, or unusual has happened in Detroit that's worth mentioning. It's really, even though they might give it a different name, it's business as usual. Well, as far as resources go, carpet rolls up real quick at their end if things go south. And they like you said, we got it, they don't. Now, the only next option they have is to try and come out and take. When they try to come out and take, that's what we bought all the ammunition for. And why we know how to fight better.
Yeah, well, we have a neighborhood of, even the hippies are like, no, you're not taking that crap. The other thing that
I deserve your stuff, dude. I deserve your stuff, man, because I'm more contemplative than you are. I've studied my belly button deeper and gone to the center of the universe, man. Have you gone to the center of the universe, man? You haven't gone to the center of the universe. You're nothing, man. I deserve what you have. I deserve. Now, if you think I'm joking about what I just said, I've heard 2 of those conversations in the last month.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the arrogance of the idiot. Well, I deserve. It went from I need to I deserve. I deserve your stuff. I deserve what you have. I deserve what you have. You have it, and I deserve it, because I'm smarter, because they told me in school I'm smarter, even though they're as dumb as a stinking box of rocks. Well, I deserve it. You don't. I deserve it. Ah.
Well, actually, what I've been studying is I'm still working downtown, cleaning up as much cash as I can.
Take all the money and run. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have their crap fest, around dusk, and then they've had 39 days in a row with riots downtown Portland.
Yay!
Anyway, they took down an elk statue, which
I saw that
I'm
was
not
very
sure
important.
how
That elk was very outrageously insultive to people who are not elks. If you're not an elk,
by the way,
you saw that elk need to go.
Okay, maybe I'm an art lover, but it was a damn beautiful elk statue. Anyway, but no, I start reading a lot of the crapola they stick on the up and around. I've taken a couple of pictures. There's one that was a what the hell do they call it? A manifesto. And I'm reading this thing. And it was very obvious they went to minimum a community college, but they didn't learn anything. They used the big words that they were taught, but it had absolutely no sense whatsoever.
It had no content, it was structured insanity.
I'm going to jump in here for a second, because the whole elk statue coming down thing, that falls right into the line with what we've been hearing out of the students in Texas Tech who are pro BLM. Bronze, I told this to Dad, and it sounds like a joke, but all bronze statues are racist because they're bronze. Yeah, because it makes everybody look black, even if they're not. So, bronze, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's cultural appropriation is the BS that they use. But there are idiots that are out there that are serious. Not just it's not just the Civil War statues. It's all statues are racist because it's cultural appropriation because they look black. It's crazy stuff. It's like
they start looking green if you wait long enough.
It's like the college professors that tell you.
That's what you get.
It's like the college professors that tell you that math is racist because it was used to figure out the value of a person in the slave market. So that makes mathematics racist.
Well, the only thing I can say is that hopefully when the Antifa crew are flying planes, everybody is smart enough to get off, and we let them fly their plane based upon their non-racially objective math, and then...
Well, no, mathematics is racist, so you can't have math.
Well, you'll have to kind of guesstimate.
No, I was going to say, I know exactly where they'll crash. I'll own the place.
Be on your house. Yeah, that's true. It's like, well, man.
What is actually? What was it? Well, according to Garp, he's looking at the house and a plane crashes into it. And he goes, "I'll take it. What are the odds of that happening again?"
Well, that sounds logic, right?
But anyway, no, I just had to throw that out. We're trying to figure out, we're not staying here. And most of us are leaving. We've got a couple of offers in Texas and Arkansas, but you know what? I don't know. We're not.
Well, if you're thinking about Arkansas, don't forget Joe McNeil moved over in that neck of the woods. You might want to look to see what all's...
I've been trying to raise Joe McNeil, Dad, but I have not been able to get him on the phone. I've left a couple messages. I don't know if he's getting them. You may try to contact him. We just want to check on him, make sure he's okay. Because we gave him that hour, and he was maintaining it for a bit. And I know he got busy, but I haven't been able to get a hold of him since he stopped doing the program.
Well, there is actually, he is over on Facebook as far as I know, so that'd probably be the way to get hold of him or try again.
Yeah, but you know how Facebook is with me, so if you could try and contact him.
Well. But anyway, Arkansas would be an option. He's in that neck of the woods. I know he's still there. So that would be a consideration, depending on where you are, at least moving into friendly. People need to be doing this more often. You could be at least in reasonable proximity. Depends on what you're doing. Obviously, your job offers or whatever your employment is,
when you're in the trades, when you're in the trades, you can go a lot of places.
Right, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and we've got family members that are like-minded in Texas, which otherwise I would be a little hesitant about. But not because of the family members. Well, maybe they're in-laws. But anyway, but you know what I'm saying. Actually, I'm kind of hesitant about Texas just because of the influx of.
Well, there's two problems.
Yeah.
You got the Californicators coming in from one direction to the capitals, to the main cities. And of course, they're just pissing in the pool like they did where they came from, and they're making, vomiting in the new location exactly the way they vomited in the one they ran from. And then you've got the Mexican invasion, which hasn't slowed down, by the way. And in fact, now they're bragging up. I mean, they finally made their move on the Alamo a couple of times here. The only reason that didn't go over well is because a bunch of people stepped up who are from Texas proper.
Uh-huh.
So
from somebody who lives here, I wouldn't come here unless you plan on fighting. Because it's going to come down to it.
Well,
it's
we're
not
all
an if, it's
tradesmen.
just a when.
Everybody that.
Go ahead.
Oh, we're all tradesmen. Not that we don't have guns, but we're more like the CBs, where we build up the stuff after everybody else blows it up. Like I said, we're not afraid to get in the mix, but our hands are talented in a different way.
Yeah, the matter of fact, I was looking to see, well, maybe we can get hold of Joe. I'll see if I can get him in contact with everybody here shortly. Already had messages with him a couple of times here this last weekend. So let me see what I can do about that. Then go from there math-wise. So anyway, well, anything? Go ahead.
Oh, yes, BC. I hear the gentleman's looking or contemplating moving out of enemy territory to a friendly behind
there you
the
go.
line. Hello?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. You might consider upstate South Carolina. There's plenty of friendlies here. We're pretty much conservative, and we won't put up with any BS in this area here.
Well, I'll throw some BS, but not the wrong type, I hope.
Right. But as a matter of fact, another fellow broadcaster moved to this area and he's still here, as far as I can tell. Kind of lost touch with him a little bit, but yeah, check it out, look it over. I think you'll find that the Greenville metropolitan area is a pretty reasonable place to live.
Okay.
All right, out.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to step out here too.
I think I can find a way for you to talk to BC if you want to. He can give you some better ideas about where very friendly territory is.
All right.
Nice weather, good state. By the way, very friendly state for moving in bank-wise with regard to businesses, or if you're from out of state. South Carolina's been really good about making all kinds of package deals to try and entice people to get to South Carolina, especially to bank there. So just something to think about. I don't know what's left.
And it is beautiful. I've been through there.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll let you go.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
I think we're breaking up a little bit there.
All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. And let's see, we're at the bottom of the hour. And Edward, I'll tell you what, let's see if I can pull this up. Because after all, John Carpenter's Escape from New York is loved by everybody, but I found one really crisp. You know, there's different copies that have been put out. So, Ed, if you could, this is over on YouTube, John Carpenter, Escape from New York, bracket, official live in-studio video. This is dated from May 16, 2016. It's on Sacred Bones Records. John Carpenter, Escape from New York, official live in-studio video. Kind of cool to watch anyway, because there's actually how the soundtrack was done for Escape from New York, for those of you who haven't seen anything like that. And it kind of helps you understand when we've talked about it being a synthesizer soundtrack. That's exactly what it was. In fact, it was cutting edge back in the day, but it was also real, like first version cutting edge. There wasn't anything like it that was out there. And it's interesting that a whole bunch of other work was done because of Escape from New York, which everybody's kind of like, well, it's kind of like a, you know, it's a cult classic as they call it now. But John Carpenter, Escape from New York, official live in-studio video, and the channel that it's on is Sacred Bones Records. I don't know if Ed can pick it up and play it for us, but here we go. Bottom of the hour break. We are back. Sorry about that. Very cool. And again, that's actually the original artist / with a couple of other conventional instruments making the sound, by the way, if you didn't hear. Take the time, check that out, and again, if you're looking for it, very crisp, by the way, very good copy, available over at YouTube if you search around a little bit, and in fact some really good follow-up interviews on the original artist and the original work that was done with the guy who did all the synthesizer work, which I think was kind of neat. As a matter of fact, let's see if I can find that again real quick here. It's kind of cute, only in that if you're interested in technology, if you wonder about what does it take to get what you want in the way of the kind of sound that they produced, well, actually a little bit of effort goes a long way. And, well, this is cute. Now, of course, when I'm looking for it, it disappeared from the lineup. I always think that's really fascinating. It's like, okay, how did this get vaporized, considering it was the first thing that popped up every time I did the search? Because I've already watched it twice, just because I wanted to pick up some of the manufacturers' names for some of the old Earth synthesizer technology that they used. Because some of the stuff pops up here at our end on a regular basis. We run into this stuff around Ann Arbor, Michigan, because there's a lot of old tech, people passing away that getting rid of stuff. So anyway, yeah, as soon as I'm looking for it, guys, it disappeared. Not a surprise, but I'll see if I can track it down while we're yapping here. I'm talking for the moment, buying myself time. Oh well. It's not jumping out at me. I'm going to really be pissed, but then it is what I expect from these creatures. So anyway, next, and again, for all of you out there, the particular piece we played was John Carpenter, Escape from New York, official live in studio. So if you get a chance, check that out. But there's also the how it was made. There's a couple of really cool interviews, definitely worth looking at. Now, another thing here, I know with the ammunition situation the way it is today, if you saw this morning what was going on, there was another wave of, they got hit inventory-wise. Certain companies are able to access because they're high on the priority list for whoever's coming down the feed chain. Don't get frustrated with anybody. I'm going to remind you this again. They're dealing with enough drama queens as it is. So reel it in, stay calm, and laugh, and try to keep them happy at the other end, because they're probably pulling their hair out. In fact, they're probably bald on one side. You know, on the left-hand side, they're holding the phone, and on the right-hand side, their hands pulling all the hair out of the right side of their head because they're having to deal with people. So instead, take 3 good long breaths, the third one, let it halfway out, and, hi, how you doing? Hey, guys, because they're frustrated, too. They deal with all the people you don't even know about, plus they're trying to deal with the inventory issues, and they also have to keep up with the work that they have to do. Now, it's their job, but it's a hectic, usually it's kind of a good, steady pace. Right now, that ain't the case with any of these companies, and they're even telling you it's going to take longer than you think to get the product. So understand, we're going to tell you in advance, it's not going to be a mystery. It may take a couple days longer for it to show up at your doorstep. Now, everybody wants it now. Everybody could get it now if it was 6 months or a year ago, and everybody had been buying things progressively like we told you to. But where everybody jumped on the bandwagon at once, which is okay, but when everybody's trying to jump on the bandwagon, there are fewer places to get on the bandwagon. The space isn't really available. It's kind of hard. Everybody's jumping at the same time. It's great that everybody wants to come along with the band, but it would have been a lot easier if everybody had just chugged along and, done the thing they were supposed to do. That's the difference between adultism and, the way people are trained in the public school system, okay? So we got a lot of work to do there, and you're going to have to play catch-up. In some cases, stuff just isn't going to be available. Sorry. You're going to have to shop around. Now, one of the things that I did mention, and, by the way, Paul, I want to thank you. Yes, the Amazon guys are not, they don't have a magic force field. Another Amazon truck got ransacked and pilfered. Somebody got looks like about a 4th floor video of it. All they did, once they got the back doors open, it looked like it was free shopping time at Amazon Portable. And the rest is history, as they say. Well, I'm sure that's happening all over the country. It's just like the non-reporting about Atlanta and the non-reporting about the other attacks going on all over the country, the only way that you are going to find out about how many people have actually been murdered by Black Lives Matter and by the Antifa group is personal, closer contact in your area of operation. But it isn't going to come from the liars in the government, because the liars in the government are trying to do damage control to cover their intentional incompetence. In other words, oh, wait a minute, it wasn't incompetence, it was intentional criminal negligence. Ah, but you're not supposed to, oh, we're the blue line matter. No, it doesn't. They don't care about you. As long as you understand that, you're doing fine. If you're foolish enough to believe that somehow they're going to step in, well, you saw how they stepped in all over the country. They pretty well left you hanging. So there's a lot of other work to be done, and that includes, as was pointed out earlier, relocating or at least paying attention. Now, a couple things. Communications, nonstop. Let's say that you're in Atlanta, and Atlanta actually went down the way everybody described in Patriots Surviving the Coming Collapse, okay? In fact, there have been multiple incidents where people have tried to leave, and they get stopped, and all their stuff gets ransacked from the car, and they get beat down. Well, if you read Patriots, you might recall the last couple trying to leave Chicago. And if you read that, remember, they lost everything but what they had on their backs and could carry in their arms, which were their personal weapons and their basic kit. Beyond that, all the other stuff was gone. Now, one of the most important things is personal direct communication. We talked about that, FRS, FM radios, whatever you want to use for short, close communications. However, if it's more common, as I mentioned in the last hour, remember, a lot of other people can be hearing what you are saying. So you had also best practice operational security with coded messaging, in other words, phonetic messaging. That way, again, you have to stay calm. You have to sound like you're not talking about what you're talking about and what each party knows they're talking about, so that you may be able to either break contact or avoid contact in a situation where you're in evacuation mode. Now, you should not wait until that late to evacuate, but a lot of people didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it when things went to hell in a handcart in Atlanta, especially on the southern side of Atlanta. The core collapsed. Basically, if you remember, we were listening to the dispatches. The core collapsed down the 75 corridor first. After that, the other precincts left and right, progressively within about 20 minutes, we're evacuating and we're pulling out weapons and ordnance, and we're abandoning the outer precinct posts, which means your ass's grass and lawnmower's gone through it if you weren't up to speed on what was happening, because then, let the good times roll. The enemy, the criminals, went to party hardy time, okay? The same is going to be true of any other area of operation. If you're in the metropolitan area and very, 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 very close to an idiot stick communist district, you don't want to wait till the last minute. And in fact, why are you waiting around? If you've got a retreat or you've got like a cabin or a place that's away, get the wife and the kids and get them out to the cabin, take everything with you can, repost and center. Now, if you still have to go to work, something we've talked about, since you're probably going to try to still maintain work, well, tighten up the old post, the old house, clear everything out you can, go through all the rooms you're not using, fortify the upper windows from the inside, make it look like they're normal when they're shut down, curtain everything, shut the room down completely, make sure that everything is, isolated, everything is cleaned up. When you shut the door, it's squared away. If you do come back, it's ready to go. If not, you don't care. But the fact of the matter is, there's no having to do something to bring things back online. Always roll up the carpet out of the room. Second floor, if you're not going to use it at all, which you shouldn't if you're by yourself, really, lock everything down, shut all the doors, make sure you still got your sand buckets and your buckets of water in place for fire defense, fire extinguishers, whatever you want to do. You might have to fall back up a stairway or move up to a second floor in a fighting defense. If you're, going to temporarily defend before you evacuate, you exfiltrate out. Now, this is for those of you who decide you think that the job is worth this, okay? You may decide that, I think I'll find another location. Maybe I got Uncle Bob's farm halfway between here and the retreat. Uncle Sally's backyard. Maybe you can pull a camper in, go get a cheap camper. You're only by yourself, and during the work week, you travel that far. Now tell your make a deal with those family members or somebody that might be a friendly. Hey, you got a couple acres. Can I put this camper back out of sight? I'm going to park it here. All I'm going to do is sleep here at night. If I could power up, that'd be great. I'll pay you for some electricity. And you commute into the job, but you never go back into the city if you only as deep as you have to get to where you work. If it's in the city. If it's not in the city, wow, better still, you don't go near the cesspool. But the fact of the matter is, you need to be restructured. Now, here's another thing I will ask all of you. Who in their right mind would be stupid enough to send their kids to the public school system this fall? If you're lucky, do you hear what I just said? If you are lucky, they are going to shut the schools down because of the next wave of the corona beer virus. Let's hope they do that. Because then they can't say anything about you just disappearing through the cracks. In other words, no, my kids aren't going to be listening to your propaganda on whatever BS with the public school system computer hookup. That's not going to happen. They don't even exist anymore. They're gone.
Oh, Dad, you missed
under no circumstances do you take your children and put them in the public school system this year, or for that matter, from now on. Wait, a caller. Who do we have?
You got Ed here. I'm just keying in. I know you don't listen to him anyway, but they had a special teachers conference with the president, the vice president, the first lady, and the second lady today. I unfortunately sat there and watched it, but you know what? They had this amazing thing where Fauci and the CDC person, were chiming in with their representatives that were there. It wasn't Fauci himself, but it was a member of his group. That, children are miraculously not showing that they catch the coronavirus very often, and when they do, it's not lethal. So the kids can go back to school. That was during this whole thing with Trump, Pence, and their wives, and the school board members that they were meeting with.
Well, piss on the school board and piss on the schools, because here's what's going to happen. You're just going to be taking your kids back into, you need to apologize for being white. You need to accept being raped, and maybe in junior high school. You need to accept being beat down. You need to accept, no, we don't. I don't need to be your meat puppet or your stunt dummy. So here's how it works. Time not to go back. And not only that, all you're going to hear is leftist tripe nonstop. So for the press and for the rest of them, all the pump that garbage, piss on that, piss on them. And again, why is it Trump will be doing that? They're going back to the school isn't going to benefit any of us Americans. In fact, the only agenda you're going to hear in the public school system is going to be leftist. It's going to be hardcore leftist. It's going to be nonstop hate America. It's going to be nonstop hate white people. It's going to be nonstop you need to hate yourself. So it's like piss on that garbage and go to hell. Time for us to walk away from that.
Some of these schools have been doing the defund the police thing, where some of these campuses that are high school campuses have police on them. And they've been like, oh, well, we're getting rid of the cops, but we're hiring more social workers and everything. Okay, so the teachers still aren't going to do their job. And when something happens, they're going to demand security, which you're basically throwing out the window right now. Hey,
guys.
Well, go ahead, caller.
Hey, this is Carl in Virginia. Hey, a lot of the school systems are actually giving the parents the option. So you can continue doing online schooling at home, or you can go in. So if they give you that option, take it. You're right. There's absolutely no reason to send your kids into school. I know where I live, they're going to do half the school will attend for a couple days, and then the other half will attend for a couple days. So at least then it's only half the kids beating down your kids. But still, it's not ideal. So if they give you that option to do online from home, whatever, go ahead and do that. Just tell them we're afraid of the coronavirus. We're afraid it's too dangerous to send our kids to school. We don't want them to get sick.
Well, interestingly enough, like I said, if it was opt-out, here's the thing to think about. Right now, you want to fade away. for everybody out there listening, if you have children, you want to fade away. If you don't want to throw a big flag up, yeah, you could baffle them with BS and stay home and still be technically tied in, but you absolutely sculpt whatever the kids do. You don't offer any answers. You don't type in anything. In fact, here's the basic rule about the commies collecting data. Gardening, flowers, puppies, and kittens. Gardening, flowers, puppies, and kittens. Gardening, flowers, puppies, and kittens. Any answer to any BS where they're trying to milk information, gardening, puppies, kitties, flowers, flowers, kitties, puppies, gardening, puppies, kitties, flowers, gardening, and any combination, I don't care what, but that's the only answer you give. Well, what do you think about? Oh, I think you know what? When they tell me about Black Lives Matter, it reminds me of a garden with so many weeds, and then there's so much work to do, and flowers. And I really like puppies. How about you? Do you like puppies? I like puppies. It reminds me of puppies. You want to know why? Because all of their social engineering crap. This is why they do that. You know, a mental evaluation thing. Guys, they sculpt the questions because if you're a man, they're trying to identify whether or not you have any masculinity left in you. And so you need to be mentally castrated and lobotomized before you go in there. And what you do is you pick the most limp-wristed response in every question that you find. And by the way, remember, queer is not bad now. In fact, queer in all of these questionnaires is preferred. Hetero is evil in the minds of the queers that run the psychobabble industry and the school system psychobabble industry. So what you want to do is you want to pad the numbers and pad the information with what?
Hey, Mark.
And that's the beauty of the computer garbage is, you know what? You don't even let your child touch the keyboard. Oh, don't worry, Sophie. I'll take care of this. Well, Daddy, you can go play with... Mommy's got some homeschooling for you. You go do that. I'll take care of your teacher for you. Yeah, we'll take care of that stinking teacher. Here, again, baffle them with BS. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, it's Carl in Virginia again. Just a quick update on Richmond over the weekend. So there's about 200-ish patriots gathered there in the Capitol, right outside the Capitol Square, protesting, and had a couple speakers. And there was probably about 50 10-foot people, and they weren't real motivated to actually jump in anybody's face when everybody there all the patriots had AR-15s and plate carriers and pistols. So they tried a little bit of drumming, but it didn't get far. And yeah, it was actually a pretty uneventful weekend in Richmond. Today, the city removed the Jeb Stuart statue from Monument Avenue, and they're gonna continue doing the city statues. The Robert E. Lee Monument is actually state-owned, so they have to go through some legal mumbo-jumbo before they can pull that down.
Well, interestingly enough, no incident otherwise, though, right?
Correct. It was a pretty quiet weekend.
Good. Well, I think See, this is where we're into the quandary situation for the bad guys, which is why, like I said, expect the bombing phase to pick up, because what's happened is all of the sacrifice phase that they've been involved in now, the troops aren't as motivated as they were. You know what I mean? So it's one of those situations where they've got to try and use a minority element, which will be Mossad operating with the other, government agents and whoever they have in the organic sandbag category, to start up the next cycle, which can be more random and anonymous, and they can brag up or brag down the numbers as needed. And remember, it's kind of like Atlanta. Since they did the Atlanta overrun thing, you'll notice Atlanta has disappeared from the news for all practical purposes, even though all kinds of wicked stuff, evil stuff is going on right now. And only in the last year or two, you had the 8-year-old girl. That's been the big thing everybody's been harping on. The 8-year-old girl who was shot multiple times from at least 2 different shooters, and killed in the bottom end of Atlanta. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. It's not what's being reported. It's the big gaping hole where it's not being reported and passed on. And I believe, like even in Virginia where you are, you guys are going to have to put, even get a little more sophisticated. In each state, we're going to have to do the same thing because they're been told don't report or lie about it. Example, I don't know if you saw it. Remember the guy? This happened just out west. Remember the guy that plowed into the 2 Antifa people out on the highway? They didn't check to see what the color of the driver was. They said it was a white supremacist that drove over it, and then it turned out it was a black guy. So it was a black-white guy. It was a black-white guy. You mean a black guy? Well, yeah, but we lied earlier. So expect that kind of BS where, again, if they may initially lie, then they'll try to maintain confusion. Then they'll drop it because they start getting caught in their lies.
Did you hear about the checkpoint there in, where, what's-his-face, Floyd got killed? They had a checkpoint set up. A woman came through with her kids in the car. Of course, it's right at an off-ramp. They told her to turn around and get back on the freeway. Of course, it's one way. So she had to go past the barricade to do the U-turn. As soon as she got past the barricade, she was invading their space. So they shot her car up. The tires killed her 8-year-old child. And it was just a block party gone wrong again, Dad. That's what they're saying. It was right. Terrible. Nobody intentionally tried to shoot the kid. They were just shooting the tires out and shooting up the side of the car of this poor black woman and her children in the car.
In other words, it was one of the many little riots, which they're now calling block parties, while people are tearing up, burning stuff down, and doing whatever. And then finally they get into how about we kill some people? But that wasn't really serious, and it wasn't what you thought it was, and everybody just needs to remember they were just having fun. So that's where it goes. We are at the top right now, guys. It is Communications Tuesday. I cannot stress enough. Get your CB radio squared away first and foremost, as quickly as you can. The CB radio is the least expensive, quickest to put online. Everybody easily understands the technology, and the simpler the rig, the easier it is to plug and play. Okay? So all of you need to, again, plug the system in, get it squared away where it needs to be. Oh, I want to say thank you to Chad and also to Randy. Some of the printouts from some of the truck driver printouts, they're actually telling them now, do not stop. If somebody is in the road, go through them. They try to stop your vehicle, keep moving, don't slow down. Keep moving, keep moving. Remember what I said, guys. Offensive driver, land shark. That semi-truck wins every time, but you can't stop and you can't let the pirates board your ship. So you do not get down to any kind of walking or even running pace. You've got to maintain high discipline on that. We're at the top. God bless our republic. Death of the New World Order. We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The Empire's on the run. We're on the march. We'll be back in 1 hour. Edward taking over. More LTR coming up. Don't touch that dial. And it is Monday. God bless. Bye-bye. Forgive me. Tuesday. Oh, God. I really confused you then. It's Tuesday. Bye-bye.
We'll let you slide this time, Mark.
Yes, we are the sons